A North State neurologist who sees a lot of the local patients is, in his words, extremely alarmed at their lessening cognitive abilities. They can't think clearly. How many people are getting forgetful? Your short-term memory is the first thing to go as your neurological system becomes damaged from air pollution. And now look at the studies we have. And I don't want anybody to believe a word I'm saying. Please just search this out. We're now seeing studies from major institutions stating that particulates in the air appear to be the greatest single causal factor for neurological disease. They don't acknowledge climate engineering, of course. That would be a grave mistake on their part, because the hammer of the government would be lowered on them immediately in countless ways. It's just a fact. This is a story that the government will try to hide as long as they can, but this issue, more than any other issue, affects every single one of us, everything we hold dear. It's the greatest single effect on the future that our children may not have now because of the damage being done by these programs. A lot of sources of human damage to the planet. I'm not trying to ignore that at all. But the greatest single assault on the environment, on us, on the biosphere as a whole, is without question, mathematically, climate engineering.
And here comes the sprayer now.
The introduction of vast quantities of an extremely small, water-loving metallic salt at flight altitude. This transformation cannot be achieved with water vapor alone, and the emissions under examination are indeed not water vapor. They are solid, and they are well entrenched into your air supply. These important conclusions are at the very heart of the aerosol operations that are being disclosed here. These changes in the very atmosphere that we breathe have a fundamental impact upon the life of this planet, and these aerosol operations have many potential applications that reduce the sanctity of that life. These operations are being conducted. They are being conducted without your participation or your informed consent. They are affecting your life, the lives of those you know and love, and the very life of the planet itself.
They match the climate engineering patents exactly. They're falling on us. More dry lightning. When you aerosolize the atmosphere with these conductive metal particulates, you get more dry lightning. The atmosphere is more electrically conductive. It's drier because these particulates are desiccants. They absorb moisture. And these metallic particulates are an incendiary dust. It coats the forest foliage and makes it more flammable. All these are facts, all contributing to the fires that are burning down around the globe.
My core quality. And I started to deal with environmental monitoring when I was in Norway. Actually, I was working in Norway in the field of electrosensitivity for a company supplying measuring material like this one and shielding materials and giving courses for the people to understand what is happening if somebody becomes electrosensitive. And when I was there, I kind of was asked to look at chemical analysis of dying plants and the rainwater that caused the plant death and soil samples, because the farmers realized they're losing parts of their harvest that year. It was 2012, but they didn't know why. So they went to the labs, and then they had the lab results and they couldn't read it. They saw values, but they didn't even know what should have been on these papers. So they addressed me as a little bit crazy scientist from Germany and asked for help. And since then, I'm working on this chemtrail topic.
We're in very great danger from the pollution that's coming down over us. And we've been led astray by the military-industrial complex.
Is the government spraying dangerous chemicals over us from
Is the government experimenting with our weather?
Question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention.
Millions of tons of toxic poisons released by planes
during the Cold War, the United States military conducted
the government is up there in airplanes spraying all kinds of chemicals to change or manipulate the weather, leaving what you see there, and they call that a chemtrail.
Geoengineering. They say it puts poison in the
tests show high levels of these chemicals in our rain and soil.
Using planes to spray chemicals into the atmosphere to manipulate what we saw.
And that's
That's why health department records show a sharp increase in barium and aluminum in California's water supply.
We shall propose further cooperative effort between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
You see the silvery white skies, which we see almost every morning in Northern California, the undefined, hazy, dirty clouds, skies full of sprayed aerosols is what we're looking at. These are aerosol clouds. And remember, clouds should be white, the sky should be blue. It's what it used to be. Find some old pictures and take a look. And remember that the express goal of climate engineering is to blot out the sun, to fill the atmosphere with these light-scattering particles, to block some of the incoming thermal radiation, cataclysmic effects, but those in power don't seem to care. So, again, a mountain of toxic metals falling on all of us. Medical statistics are showing exactly what we would expect to see from this. All the human diseases that are related to these metals are going absolutely off the charts. As mentioned before, autism in the last 40 years has gone from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 47. That's over a 10,000% increase in autism. And now we have one of the most recognized institutions for research on the planet, MIT, stating that in less than 10 years, we will see 1 in 2 children with autism. Alzheimer's, 1 in 3 in the continental U.S. dies with Alzheimer's and/or dementia. Not dies from it, but dies with it. All of us are becoming dumber by the day. It's not a joke. It's not a metaphor. It's a fact. Our cognitive ability is being damaged by the toxic particulates we are all inhaling.
Talk about chemtrails. So the first question that comes up to my mind is, where does this word come from? And this is a question that is beyond theory, because you can find out where the word comes from. And it comes from soldiers of the US Army, mostly US Air Force, who brought this word into the English language because they were sitting at the US Air Force Academy, attending classes of the chemical faculty, and one of the classes is the Chemtrail Class. This is kind of, when you study at this university, the class where you learn how to make chemtrails. Yeah. This doesn't touch the question, do chemtrails exist up in the sky or not? The only thing we can answer by looking at this chemtrail class is we can see this is a military technology. We don't know if it is applied or not, but we can study the technology because it's taught at the university.
We stand today looking up into the sky and wondering what's going on, and it's loaded with chemicals, and some of the chemicals are heavy metals, aluminum and cadmium, beryllium, barium, a few others, and I do an awful lot of work. And so when we're looking at hair analysis, which is a low-level chronic toxicity analysis, I'm beginning to see more and more, particularly in the last 5 years, of our children having a spike of cadmium and aluminum. Now, we thought we had the aluminum under control back in the day by what we did with eliminating some of the foods, and mom's becoming better at that. But now we're seeing more of it starting to spike. So through my colleagues and through some conversations, we're finding that it's actually coming from the air. These nanoparticles of these heavy metals that are being sprayed are actually, we breathe them, and our children who play outside a lot become effective. And what this does is it affects your brain. It actually, we think it has something to do with the spike in the autism in the last 5 years, a 25% spike. We also think it has something to do with some of the dementia that we're seeing. There's been a spike in that as well. So trying to explain what happened in the last 5 years, really we can kind of go back to seeing what's going on in the sky is a player. As far as it is a huge player, of course, but the thing of it is, what do? We need to become aware. We need to become aware that our sky is falling.
You can no longer see blue now, at least not in the same way that many of us know and remember. Your horizon has largely turned to white, and there is a very good reason that this is so. These fine, solid materials, or aerosols, are now in your way, and you will see clearly no more. The source and origin of these aerosols is now abundantly clear, and the aircraft operations have now